Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of 3 life-changing tips from highly effective people. This is Sharik Javed from Munich, Germany. And with me is today Kristina from Denver, USA. Hello, Kristina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on our show. Christina is a parenting coach. Earlier, she was a teacher, and now she changed her career towards parenting coach. And it will be interesting to hear about her story, her journey. But before that, as always, as our program format is first 10 minutes, we go towards the 3 life-changing tips from our guests. And every guest is unique and they have their own unique, nice tips. So she will give her 3 nice tips, then followed by her journey into parenting coach and 10 minutes. And of course, we will take live question and answers. So, Christina, without wasting time, we will go to tip number 1.
All right. My tip number 1 for your audience is stop putting imaginary boundaries on what you can do. And we all do this all the time. When I was starting my business or whatever what you do, sometimes you just say, I would do that, but see, I'm just not that kind of person. And when you do that, you are putting this boundary on yourself. Instead, own it. Say, okay, I would do that, but I don't want to. It's a different kind of sentiment. You're saying, hey, it's not for me. That's not who I am. Instead of saying that you're not that kind of person, because then it just puts up a wall. So don't do that to yourself. You are limited.
That's very interesting. This is a new concept, actually. Uh, Explain it a bit more, actually. Really interesting.
Yeah. So like, for example, when I was trying to figure out when to exercise and take care of my own health, even, I would say, well, I would wake up early to do that, but I'm just not a morning person. And really, you can absolutely wake up early and exercise if you want to. But instead, I had to own the fact that I don't want to. That's not the time of day I really want to. I'd like to sleep in. See, when you change it to things that you know you like and you prefer, then it becomes part of your identity versus, well, I'm just not a morning person. You're putting a boundary on yourself that doesn't need to be there because you are absolutely capable of doing whatever you want.
Excellent. So we need to break the boundaries. That's very important.
Exactly.
Yes. So that we can do something new, something different in life, actually. That's very
Yeah.
interesting
It's
point.
because how you talk to yourself in your head plays a lot into what you're capable of. And you just do not put those imaginary boundaries on yourself because there's enough obstacles outside of you. Don't make them inside of you also.
Very nice. Very nice tip. So let's move to tip number 2 from
All right. My
Christina.
tip number 2 is fake it till you make it. And what I mean by this is sometimes we have to just kind of fake it for a while in order to change, in order to break a bad habit. It's really, really difficult. And you kind of just have to fake it for a while until you can become what you want to be. You aspire bigger than what you want. I mean, if you may want to do one little tiny obstacle, or you may want to have one small goal. Don't make it the small goal. Make the big goal. Make that big goal and then do baby steps to get there. So you fake it until you make it, until you're ready, and eventually you will become that person.
That is really interesting. Maybe a good example can also help us better understand it.
Sure. So for me, when I was trying to become a more impactful parent, when I started my business, I thought, okay, you know what? This is what I want to be. I want to be confident. I want to be really knowledgeable. I want to do all these things. But every day I would wake up and I would tell myself in the mirror, you can do this. You can be confident on camera. You can talk off random top of your head and it's going to be okay. And in the beginning, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, telling yourself that you can do these things that you want to do, that you want to aspire to be, it feels like you're lying to yourself. This is where you're faking it. And it feels yucky. It really does. But if you don't keep telling yourself that and you keep encouraging yourself, then eventually you start to believe what you're telling yourself in your head. You start to look at yourself in the mirror and say, wait a second. Yeah, actually, what? I can do this. I can talk off the top of my head. I can be an impactful parent. I can do all these things. So you fake it until you make it.
So it's like dreaming something big for yourself. So it's similar to, yeah, a little bit to point one also, to cross the boundaries that we have defined for ourselves, and then you fake it, as you said. It's like dreaming big and working towards the dream unless you make it. Yes, very well said. Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's move to point number three.
And my tip number 3 is don't forget to breathe, because it doesn't matter if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're just a really busy parent at home because you got several kids at home doing homeschool, or everybody. We're all in this place in our lives right now where it is just overwhelming, honestly. We're exhausted. So
Yes.
my third tip is don't forget to breathe. Take a moment just to sigh, just to take a deep breath, to take it in, and be grateful for the little things that you have. Focus on the grateful of your life instead of the negative of your life. Take care of yourself. Take that moment to pause and stop. You can't just go, 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 go like the hamster will. You
Yeah,
need to
because there is a
pause.
lot of things in our lives and busy routine, and people forget the me time. As our guest in the last show, Dr. Humera, said that we should also have a me time. It's like a charging your battery. A phone will keep working, but you need a pause because you have to charge it. That's very nice.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. And sometimes we forget that. I don't know how it is in Germany, but here in the United States, we just work ourselves down to the bone sometimes. It's part of our culture, and that's not
Yes.
a good part of the culture. And
Um,
you need to pause. You need times of rest so that you can have more energy to do more. It's
true, true.
it's kind of an oxymoron cycle that you must take time to pause and rest so that you can do better
Thank
or
you so
more
much.
things.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so that were three wonderful tips. And in the end of the show, I will ask you to again repeat the three tips. So
Sure.
let's move a little bit about your journey. So you were a teacher by profession, and then you moved towards becoming a parenting coach. And now we can see the banner behind you, the impactful parent. And so why did this shift happen? Why was this shift? When did you realize, okay, teaching and now moving towards parenting coaching?
Oh, it was a very difficult shift for me. It did not come easily. I came into a point in my life where everything was shifting. I was getting a divorce. I was trying to figure out who I was. Through this process, it was a really lonely time, honestly. We come to these points in our lives of pivot where something really changes and it's going to change you and you know it. For me, it was my divorce. My husband at the time wanted a divorce, and I did not take it lightly. I was really upset about it. But there comes a point where you have to say, okay, I got to stop feeling sorry for myself and I need to pick myself up and move forward. The hard part about that for me was I realized through this process that, man, I'm a giver, and I had given, 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 given to my family, to my husband, and even to my profession of teaching.
Mhm.
And as you know, teaching is a very giving profession. It is not
Yes.
9 to 5.
Mhm.
But I had given so much to everybody else that I didn't really know who I was. And that was
Mhm.
scary. So I had to reevaluate, what is it that I know I am good at? What is it that I want to do? Through that, all of that, if that wasn't enough, I also realized that my kids needed me more than they had ever needed me before. Not
Mhm.
only were they going to be going through a divorce, but also I had two emerging teenagers. And, adolescence, that's a tough period. So
Mhm.
I thought, I need to stop focusing on everybody else's kids and really start focusing on my own. And in order to do that, I needed to quit teaching. But you still have to live to your authentic self, right? And I was a giver and I like helping people. So I
Mhm.
had to find a different way to do that. And I invented the Impactful Parent so that I can continue to help school age children, but now I get
Mhm.
to help them actually even a more impactful way through the
Mhm.
home, through their parents, by helping their relationship with their mom and their dad. And
Mhm.
it's been extremely rewarding, and I'm so happy I did.
So that's really great that you made a shift in the difficult times and you are successful about it. And now you are a parenting coach. Um, so first question will be like for many viewers, what exactly is the job of a parenting coach?
Oh,
It
sure.
looks like you are a coach to the parents, but what exactly And for example, why do someone needs a parenting coach?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We all need some kind of help sometimes in our lives, whether it's, whether you're becoming an entrepreneur or maybe it's with love interest. And for me, I focus on helping the parent. But in certain times in our life, you need somebody to kind of coach you through it. And that's what we do. I coach you through your parenting because you need support. Sometimes you're just so close to the problem, you literally can't see it. Whether you're talking about work or talking about your love life or talking about your parenthood, you're so close. Sometimes the answers are just so obvious, but you're too close to
Mhm.
see it. So you get the
Yeah.
parenting coach or whatever other kind of coach you may want, and they help you work through it. They help you ask the right questions, and they guide you in what you need to do moving forward. For me, I have a behavior management specialty where I help parents with kids that have anger management issues, or maybe they have high anxiety and they really want to help their kids, but they don't know how, right? So
Mhm.
I help
So I
coach
think Bilal is kind
them.
of asking that, okay, for example, if people need to find some kind of coaches, like, okay, they have having a stressful time in the life, raising kids, and they need guidance, So how to find these kind of coaches? Because it's not a traditional profession to become a coach, and still it's tough to find some coaches.
Yeah, it
And how
is.
to find a good coach?
For me, I found, I'm on social media. Most coaches are actually, we're all on social media. So you could find us through Google searches and things like that. So that's how you would find most coaches.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. So again, talking about this coaching stuff. So parenting has become a big challenge since COVID-19 arrived,
Oh,
because people
absolutely.
had to work at home. People were not used to working at home. Kindergartens and schools were closed, kids were at home, so all of these things and new kind of challenges happen. And also the youngsters, they have other kind of challenges. They are young, they are growing up, they want to have fun, enjoy life, but they cannot go out with friends. They are at home frustrated. A lot of things are happening. People have a lot of plans after graduation, they cannot celebrate. All these mount up to parenting challenges. The kids are frustrated, parents are frustrated. So these kind of, I think you might be getting a lot of new and crazy questions, right?
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm doing to support you as these transitions happen. So I get a lot of questions on how do I set up my household now that it's also a school? How do I balance working from home with my child next to me working at school at the same time? And it's not easy. And that's one thing you have to realize is that we're all in this together. It's not an easy time. And goes back to that, don't forget to breathe. We got this. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So what are, of course, there are difficult times. So I have two more questions. Like, what are the most common questions that you receive in these times? This is one of the things. And second, because these are evolving times, and you as a coach need to learn new stuff also, right? How you get your training from to help other people, because COVID happened maybe first time in 80 years. These kind of situations are not common.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to answer your second question first, which is how do I educate myself? I am a constant educator. I take classes. I read a ton. I listen to psychologists and experts and the latest things happening. And that's something you have to do to keep up with what your clients need. Now, what are they asking right now? They're asking how to balance school and work life at home. They're asking about how do I handle it when my child is getting depressed right now with COVID because they can't go out and they can't see their friends the way they want. This is very particularly difficult on teenagers right now who are super trying to discover who they are in this time of development. And yet we put so many boundaries on them saying, nope, you can't go do this. You can't go do that. You can't go do this. And it's
Yes.
suffocating them. So I get a lot of questions and helping parents coach them through how to interact with their teenagers right now when they don't want to really be with their family, but we can't let them go out into the world either. So it's really difficult and it's a case by case basis, but
Of course.
it's It's very fulfilling.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fulfilling because if you see that there is a challenge and you try to help, and if it turns out positive for for someone, then you have a lot of sense of satisfaction and peace. Yeah. So what are your what are your most important tips to the parents in these time, because the COVID is not going away very soon. We still have COVID-19 second wave coming up. So what are your tips to the parents in general?
All right. So my first tip for parents would be to have some empathy of where their child's coming from. Okay, so take how you feel. You have been put into your own boundaries. You have been told you can't travel too much. You can't go outside too much. You can't go out to the bar that you wanted to go out to, right? You can't have happy hour after work the way you wanted to before. Okay, imagine that and amplify it for a child because they have even less control of their lives than you do as an adult. So
Mhm.
you have to have empathy for that. My second tip to that is that you're going to see a lot of kids at any age right now acting out because there's so many emotions happening because of that suffocation. So a lot of parents they react to the first thing that they see. So maybe their
Mhm.
child is like and talks back to them. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, instead, they want to discipline the behavior of talking back. And I would more encourage you to say, okay, there's a consequence for talking back, but let's
Mhm.
think about that. Why are you talking back? What's happening underneath the surface here that's causing you so much frustration that you need to burst out at me and not talk to me in a nice way? Are you frustrated about school? Are you frustrated that you can't see your friends? Are you frustrated that
Mhm.
you have to spend so much time with us? Are you not sleeping well? What's going on there? Because so
Mhm.
much of parenting, we just see surface level emotions, and really we need to
Yes.
dig down deeper as parents. So just have
Mhm.
that realization that your child's going through a lot right now and
Mhm.
figure it out. And if once you know, if you can figure it out, say, oh, you're snappy and irritable with me because you can't see your friends. Once you know that, then you can start building to going, okay, how can we brainstorm this? How can we fix this
Yes.
problem? I can't let you go see your friends, but maybe we can do some more Zoom meetings where you guys can all get together that way virtually. Maybe we can, on a really nice day, do a social distancing gathering in the park and do a barbecue out there for them. You got to be creative, but
Yes.
when you start paying attention to your child's needs and what's the real hurt inside of them, then
Mhm.
your relationship will also grow with that because they see that you care.
Very nice tip, because we are seeing surface to surface basis, and a lot of things are changing in the last few months. So, dear viewers who joined us now, we have Christina from Denver, USA. She's teacher turned parenting coach, and in the last 5 minutes, we will discuss again a couple of questions. You can ask your question also. Before going to the questions, I will request Christina to again share the three tips quickly, because the viewers who join later, they might have missed the three tips from you.
Yeah, the first tip was stop putting imaginary boundaries on yourself because we do it when how we have our internal thoughts. So do not put an imaginary boundary on yourself. The second tip was fake it till you make it. You can do it. I promise. Just envision it. Talk to yourself in the mirror about the person that you want to be. And my third tip is don't forget to breathe. Pause, take moments for yourself of rest and to be grateful for the things that you can be grateful for in your life because it will help you gain more energy so that you can do more later.
I think these are wonderful tips. And in my own words, I will try to say what I understood. In the first tip, you said that you should not put boundaries. Often we think that this is our normal life, daily life, and we cannot think beyond that. We cannot do something different, something beyond that. So we can do it. So we should not put boundaries. And the second one is like fake it to make it until you make it. Is something like we have to dream big in our lives. Uh, we apparently thinks big dreams are far away, and we think no, this is not achievable, but you think that you can do it, and then you do it. And the third one is the me time, in my words, like, okay, you should
Mhm.
have some time for yourself also. Yeah, so we have viewers from across, we have viewers from Germany and also from US. Yes. Good. So let's move to last 5 minutes of the show, and we will have some questions for Christina. So in comments, you are welcome to ask the questions. So she is a teacher turned parenting coach, and so we were discussing that since COVID, when people have been kids have been in home and they have a lot of plans have been changed and their behaviors have changed, and similarly the parents are at home working, doing home office. So we discussed that we should understand the kids behavior, but on the other hand, when the parents might also be going through some stress because they might have lost a job or the hours are reduced or salary is reduced, and this in this situation the normal behavior of the kid is also looking abnormal, and maybe the parents are also reacting in a bad way. These kind of situations also, have you seen or have you given tips to people about how to tackle this situation?
Yeah, and it's hard times for a lot of people right now. And focusing on the grateful is really important, but also, you're not in that journey alone. Your family's coming along with you. Your kids are right in your journey with you. So when you lose your job and you have that stress in your life, I will bet $1,000,000 that your family, including your children, they can feel it too. So it's not about hiding your feelings from them. I would never say that, because it's part of what's happening in your life. But I think that a lot of times parents make the mistake of trying to stuff down the feelings a little too much, or not letting the kids have any say at all. Again, children are really at your mercy in a lot of different ways, especially depending on the age. And so but they're going through it with you. So if you can give them a little bit of power on their choices, it makes them feel a little bit better. Maybe you can't go out to eat quite as much anymore, but explain it to them. Say, look, this is what's happening. I wish I can go out. I wish I can do this, but we can't right now. This is not where we're at. Instead, maybe, do you want to have peanut butter and jelly for dinner tonight, or do you want to have ham sandwiches? But you're giving them a little bit of choice so they can still feel some control, even if it's as little as picking what kind of sandwich they get to eat today.
Yeah.
But it does
So
help their mental health when they have a little bit of a power, and even if it's tiny.
yes. So Mehnaz is also asking a relevant question. Would you shine some light on how the environment is impacting the kids' behavior? So this, I think you already discussed about it. Maybe you can summarize it, what you discussed till now, for our
Yeah.
viewers who join later.
Yeah. So because of COVID, the children, their world has flipped upside down. So children thrive off of routine. They love routine. And school in particular gives structure and routine to their day. And now we have even ripped that away. And to that point, school also is a support system for the parents, which we didn't realize how much school supported us as parents until now it doesn't, right? Now we can really feel it. But when you take away the routine of a child, then that's when they start to feel lost. And when they feel lost, they start to act out. When they feel restricted and they have no power in their life, they can't see their friends because they're always hearing, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. Then they get angry inside, just like you would. So what do? They act out. They start talking back. They start hiding in their room, or maybe they're even retreating to electronics because electronics makes them feel better. There's things about electronics that makes people do certain things, like it gives them like stimulation and stuff, and they may be understimulated. So it's about figuring those out. Why are they doing those behaviors?
Yes, maybe last question from my side for tonight. Because people are at home and there are not many activities, and uh, the screen time has really increased for the kids. And often these cartoons, of course, they are not real life and they have a lot of energy in them. And this is impacting the minds of the kids and their behavior also to everything around them. So, what do you think that in this case, what do you suggest to parents how to tackle this situation?
Screen time is an individual thing for each family. Some people are going to say, no screens, we can do it. And some families, they can't do that. They got to let their kids have some screen time. But here's what I would suggest. The most damaging type of screen time is first shooter video games. And what I mean by that, that's games kind of like Call of Duty, where you're shooting and you're the person shooting, and it's like you're the person in the video game. Those are called first shooter video games. Those are actually probably the most damaging types of video games for the child. I can go in a whole bunch of things, but let's just say it's psychologically a little bit more damaging than, let's say, Pac-Man or any other kind of like Mario Brothers. So be aware of what kind of video games are more damaging than others.
Okay.
Also, I highly suggest buying, there's programs out on for electronics that give certain time levels. So it automatically, for you as a parent, you don't have to say stop playing. It tells, you can program it so that the electronic automatically turns off at a certain time period, or allows your child to play for a certain time period. And when that time period's up, the video game stops itself. So those kind of technologies I highly suggest right now during this time.
Okay, these are very, very good tips actually. So thank you very much, Kristina, to coming to our show and sharing the 3 tips that were really helpful. And now also sharing with us your experience, especially in the lockdown, when the things have been difficult for the parents and for the kids. And you are also trying to help with your experience as a teacher and now as a coach. You're trying to help. And for people who want to contact Kristina, the link is in the description, and her she's also on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and the page you can follow is called The Impactful Parent. Thank you very much, Kristina, for joining us from Denver, USA. Maybe one last line you want to say to our viewers in Germany.
I always tell my parents, you got this. I'm just here to help.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's it for tonight. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening, everyone. Bye bye.